We need that foghorn sound.
I thought we had like every sound on this thing.
No, we have to get that. Because that would make a hell of an intro.
I don't know. Oh.
Yeah, it was kind of lame. Anyways. Here we are again.
What's the one I'm not supposed to press?
The red one. Because it just doesn't stop. It goes and goes and goes.
Yeah.
But you know the sound I'm talking about.
Yeah, it just goes on forever.
Yeah.
Oh, the one oh, never mind. Okay.
The horn sound.
Blonde moment. Sorry, go ahead.
It's the one we need.
Yeah.
So we can open with that every time.
Yeah, definitely.
Because these are getting harder and harder.
Well, if we had more Patreon pledges, then maybe we could get that.
You sons of bitches. It's all your fault. You want content, you're going to have to support it.
Yeah, you got to pledge for that
Get
shit.
it on your own.
Yeah, pledge. Why are you messing with the board?
Well, I had to cut that mic off. I think that's what's giving us a little bit of our echo.
That and the fans and all the other stuff, because I'm going to try and not have a hot flash today
It's
like I had
the
last episode. It's just humid.
It's miserable.
It's just Ohio.
Especially in here. All this stuff's running.
Well, when you got foam on the ceiling, I feel like that does not help the cause.
Probably not.
Because it just makes it stuffy in here.
Yeah, and this computer here operates at about 375 degrees.
I really get offended. I'm offended when you bash on my college computer just because it's an antique. It's like 10 years old. It's not, well, it's 12 years old. It's not, it was a really nice computer back in the day.
Yeah,
I know I have a nice look at my computer
Lincolns
now.
were really nice back in the day too, but today they're a little outdated. You know, that's all I'm saying.
I know I've significantly updated my computer game. No thanks to you, but
oh yeah, no thanks to me.
Yeah, you bought me this for Christmas.
You could stack 4 of those together, and it would be the same size as this.
I wanted a side number keyboard, or whatever you call it. I wanted that so bad.
Well, you definitely have it.
I wanted it. Did I ever use it for anything?
No.
But you
could do some serious data entry with that thing.
Okay, so that's why I wanted it. The summer, 2 summers, or summer, one of them, I don't remember. I had so many stupid jobs before college. Before I left for my freshman year of college, it's the wine already. I'm already fucked up and drunk. I worked at a bank, not like a Huntington bank.
Right.
It was like a home loan bank. And I was basically the data entry bitch.
So did you use the side number pad?
I was a loan processor. Yes, I used that side entry pad.
See, there you go.
And I just went, just type in. Actually, I wasn't fast. It was more like, doop, doop, doop. It was very slow. I was a very terrible loan processor. If anyone was getting their home loan processed through me, it was probably a very slow process.
And the numbers were all.
I was not good. But I did work there for another summer. Is that the fan in the background? Is that rain?
I'm pretty sure it is raining like a sumbitch outside. Oh, yep.
It is a torrential downpour, and that's the tin roof you can hear in the background.
It most certainly is.
That's a very peaceful sound. We should record this sound and we could sell it for calming.
Should we talk real quiet too?
We could put them to sleep. So
they're already sleeping through our shit anyways. I mean, it's really coming down, which is good.
I didn't know what that sound was. I thought it was the fan.
I thought we had a water main break somewhere.
I feel like we're in like our own little bubble here that you don't know what's going on.
You really don't.
So, yeah, so it's the rain.
Here in the studio.
You did tell me that, we can't put an aluminum roof out there because it's going to be real loud. And I said, no, it's not. Well, it's a little loud now.
How loud is it? You can hear it.
Well, I feel like I can hear it more so because my microphone is capturing this sound.
It's a little amplified.
A little bit, since I got my headphones on. But guess what? We are not high-tech people, and you're going to have to put up with it because I'm not stopping recording now.
Boom.
Because if we stop recording and then we record later, who knows when this shit's going to stop, and then I'm really going to be fucked up by that time. That is true. So.
If it gets too bad, we can just slide that closed.
I thought the window was closed.
I'm pretty sure it's open.
Well, duh. Jesus.
Watch the sound muffle now.
Oh my God. Why didn't you say something first? Okay, people, we're back. And guess what? You can't hear the rain anymore because Marcus didn't tell me the window was open.
I, didn't think I needed to state the obvious.
I thought the rain was that bad and the aluminum roof was that bad. But guess what? Guess what call I made? That the aluminum roof was not going to be that loud. So guess what? I win.
Oh, so that's okay.
It was not that loud.
You heard it here first.
You can't hear shit now. So, man, I should edit all that shit out. But guess what? I'm too lazy, so I'm not going to edit it out.
We're sticking with it.
Yeah, it's going to stay in here because I don't like to edit anything. I'm too lazy.
Because now we know that you were a loan processor. And you can't just cut that. What did you do? Like, what is a loan processor?
Well, my boss, if she's listening, she knows who she is. She's actually my parents' neighbors. Yeah. So you know her.
Yes.
She's a really cool lady.
Very good people.
She was the head boss lady over in this building, so she didn't really boss me around, but I don't remember what the people above me were, what their title was, but basically hand me a big file of like the loan, and then I would have to go through and like punch in the numbers like in the computer program. She's probably shaking her head right now going like,
this is why you no longer work for me.
This is why you're not in this business. I had to like punch in a bunch of numbers, make sure like things lined up. I had to like fill out the loan application, I think, like type in like all their information. I think more than anything, I'm making myself sound a lot better than what I was. More than anything, I was the copy machine bitch is what I was.
Oh, yeah.
I had to make copies of everything, but then I had to make the copies where they like condense it, make it like super small, because some of the forms were like on legal length paper, so you had to like condense it. That's very complicated shit, you know? You have to be pretty much a rocket scientist to be able to figure it out.
And that was your gig.
So that was my gig, yeah. It actually paid really good money, so
really?
I wasn't complaining. It was better than, it was the best paying job that I had. I had so many freaking jobs. So many jobs.
It's not a bad thing, though, because you've always moved ahead, like forward. Better pay, better benefits, better jobs, better hours.
Well, and I don't mean to sound like I had so many jobs because I got fired from all the jobs. I just was I was just like a little hustler, you know? Yeah. I was lazy, but at the same time, I'm like, well, I kind of want to make some money. So during the summer, I just busted my butt and I would work like 1 or 2, sometimes 3 jobs. But I'm also making myself sound better than what it was, because when I say work 3 jobs, one of those jobs I might work like 1 day a week or something. It wasn't like anything. I wasn't working like 90 hours a week or anything stupid, but I had a lot of dog jobs. I worked a lot with dogs, hence why we have so many animals.
It's not a bad thing, though.
I worked at that dog kennel. I cleaned up a lot of dog poop. You would walk into those kennels and like the rooms like each had their name. I'm imagining this now, like I'm having flashbacks to this. You would walk in and you could like smell the dog shit as soon as you would walk in, and it usually smelled clean. I mean, we that was our job as animal care, was like to keep the kennels clean, and you would be assigned your kennel room. Was it a
long-term dog care? Like dogs were staying for?
Some dogs stayed for a long time. Other times they would stay for like a weekend. So your typical
like boarding kennel or whatever.
It was fancy though. I can't say the name of it, but it was super fancy.
Oh, that's right. I remember you talked. Like they had legit like.
It was a pet
rooms,
hotel. Yeah. Oh yeah, they had like executive suites and shit with like leather couches and fireplaces and flat screen TVs in it. Jeez. But the funny part was that the dogs would eat the leather couches and what did you think was gonna happen? You know, it looked beautiful like when they first did everything, but like these dogs are destroying things because people don't know how to train their dogs. But anyways, you would walk into some of these rooms and you would just like smell it and you'd be like, oh fuck. And then you'd walk up and down like the rows and figure out, usually you knew which dog it was, because they never just like shit in a corner and just like left it alone. They always like shit and then had to paint you a Picasso in that dog kennel. And it was like they would jump and they just smear all over it. I mean, just disgusting. So you just get in there with your power washer and you just spray that shit out. And it was disgusting.
Yeah, but, no, thank you.
Yeah, I cleaned up a lot of dog poop. And then I worked at a couple different doggy daycares.
Yeah.
That was obnoxious.
Literally just daycare. Like people bring their dogs and drop them off. Some dogs are very spoiled.
Yes. I think doggy daycare was my least favorite job I ever had.
Really?
And I think it's because you would get dogs that get dropped off there. And I understand why people send their dogs to doggy daycare. We've sent our dogs there just to like burn off some steam, like at our local one here. More so like
interaction's not bad.
It's a great concept. I'm not knocking it, but it is annoying. You're staying there for 8 hours just listening to dogs bark their heads off. They're jumping on you nonstop. It's like going from being a dog trainer, you know, at one point in my life and like doing that kind of stuff. It's just like, this does
one extreme to the next.
This does not align with how you just wanted to like discipline every dog, and you can't do that. Like, you're not there to discipline them. Yeah. You're there to let them run around and be idiots. So yeah, I cleaned a lot of dog poop in my life.
Yep.
Dog training was like the funnest job though. I really like that. I miss it.
Get back into it. Does anybody need their dog trained?
Well, I feel like I don't have the time for it. Because here's the thing is like, you have to be available to work around people's schedule.
Yeah.
And we work afternoon shift. And so I think it's just difficult to be available for them. Like we'd only be available.
When you have to be
Thursdays
persistent too, right?
And persistent. Yeah. And here's the other thing is that I have very little patience anymore. Sometimes. It depends on the situation.
Not really. You yell at me a lot.
No, I don't. Sometimes. But when you're a dog trainer, you aren't going to fix the dog. You're going to give the parent the tools to train their dog.
Right.
And so it's on the parent to work with that dog. I always said 5 minutes a day. Work with your dog 5 minutes a day, and you'll be able to change the behavior, things like that. People don't like to do that. They don't like to take 5 minutes a day.
They want somebody to just fix their problems and just never have to.
Yeah. But the gentleman who was my mentor, Tom, you know who you are. I doubt he's listening to this, but I mean, I love Tom. Tom gave me so much in dog training, but he also introduced me to the canine training world, which gave me a lot of contacts in the law enforcement world, which, though I never obviously ended up working for any of the departments, that I was able to come in contact through the canine training. But I think it was really cool to at least meet some people in the law enforcement world and just kind of like, you know, be able to interact. And I mean, I met some really cool guys. Yeah. You met Carrie, you know, at the one game we went to. Don't say what it is. Yeah. That one thing we went to, but you met him there. Like, he was super cool. Yeah. I got to do a ride along with him at, you know, his department, and, you know, just some really down to earth guys. But Tom kind of opened me up to all that stuff. And he turned Toby into a cookie monster, so you can blame him for making him crazy for treats. Like, Toby is perfect in every way, shape, and form. Have you noticed? Except when it comes to a treat. If you put a treat
he
in front
loses
of
his shit. Like, he does. Yeah, everything goes out the window.
Fucking nuts. And that's because Tom used to sit behind this desk like that we had in our training ring, and he would be like, we would do a little bit of training. So like, our classes, I forget how long they were an hour or like 45 minutes, whatever they were, but you would do a little bit of training and then you give him a break, and you do a little training, give him a break. And so it would be cookie time, and so then Tom would go like, cookie time, Tori, come get your cookies. And he'd start yelling and get him all hyped up. And he'd put cookies on top of the desk. And so then Toby would come like airborne, jump up over top of this desk and like do like a shark attack trying to get these cookies. I mean, he would go freaking bonkers over these cookies. And I'm like, Tom, we're trying to teach this dog. You're ruining
everything I've worked for.
We're trying to teach this dog. But then you would get Toby, who at the same time, you put him in a down in the center of the training ring, and you tell him to down, because you should only give your dog a command once, and you don't have to keep telling them to down. Right. Like, that's stupid. Tell them to down. You shouldn't even have to technically tell them to stay, but I understand that some dogs get a little distracted, so you can tell them to stay. But you give him a down to stay, and he wouldn't move. He would just stay there, and he would just, like he's right now, he's KO'd over here. He'd just be KO'd for the whole time. He'd just stay there while we're walking dogs around the ring, doing all our stuff. Like, it was fun.
Now he's old, and he just doesn't care.
Yeah.
He has no patience. Yeah. No time for no bullshit.
Yeah. But I would do that, and then I worked at a hair salon for a little bit. I was a receptionist. I did not do hair. Please, no one would ever trust me to do anyone's hair, so we don't have to worry about that. But
it's not true. You could probably give a mean buzz cut.
Actually, I did buzz cut my dad's hair one time, and my mom, this is really mean, I'm really sorry to anyone who has had cancer or has cancer, but she was like, you made him look like a cancer patient.
Oh, you took it all off.
It was not cute, but I didn't do a good job. It was not smooth. But I can cut dog's hair. I learned that because I worked in a grooming salon.
Same thing, right? I
mean, I think that's why I thought I could cut his hair, is because I worked in a dog grooming salon, and I was like, I can cut dog's hair. I can cut human hair.
My
like,
beer.
Yeah.
Watch this.
So watch me do this one. So, Yeah, I've had a lot of jobs. When I think about it. That's why every time I've applied to a police department, like a different big girl job, every time the background people get my shit, they're like, "What the
work history's a real bitch."
It's like 3 pages long.
Yeah.
It's horrible. I mean, I don't even like typing it out. I pre-print it on extra sheets of paper. Like I have it in a file in our filing cabinet over there. Actually, it's just a box in an extra room. It's not a filing cabinet. But yeah. Wow, this light's making me look really like a vampire right now. I'm looking at myself in the camera.
A little bright.
It's a little bright,
It
but
is
that's
kind of
okay.
bright.
I'm sure the video recording is going to shit out on us anytime soon. So
yeah,
it's
we've
fine.
had some real issues with that.
Yeah, you know what? I'm kind of over it, but it's fine. I'll keep trying.
We'll keep trying.
I'm just going to keep chugging
If it
along.
uploads, it uploads. If we get a full video,
I saved the last one. It was like 6 minutes long. I'm just going to put it as a teaser on like Facebook or something.
Yeah.
We do have a
you could
Facebook
do that.
now.
Oh, yes, we do. You didn't plug any of our shit.
Oh my
Now
God.
people don't know where to
I plugged
find us.
Patreon already. They're gonna support us because you are supportive people. You know, you're gonna support us and you're gonna pledge.
There you go.
I know you are good people at heart, and that's what you're gonna do.
Oh,
You're
what a
gonna
guilt
support
trip.
us.
So what if they don't? They're just not good people?
I didn't say that.
Okay.
Don't
just trying to
don't twist
clarify.
my words. Don't twist my words. But I did create the Facebook today. So by the time this gets released, we'll be 3 weeks behind. So, oh well.
Yeah, we're
That's
trucking
fine.
along.
But I'm saying they won't.
Yeah.
The Facebook's already out, but that's fine. But it's Knock and Talk Pod. I guess that you have a handle for Facebook. I don't know. It's so confusing because it's not a Facebook.
No,
profile.
it's not like a personal.
It's a page.
Yes.
But when I'm trying to go on it and like update it, it's very confusing.
Yeah, it's not like posting stuff to your
No.
own because I can be
Which
like
is
I
nice.
can get on there and post stuff.
I
and
need
look at stuff.
monitoring. I need monitoring. I can't do this by myself.
But
I need
it's
to make sure I
crazy
don't
how
do
it's like this.
bad things.
It's open. Like
Yeah.
it's an open.
Yeah. But we did get some feedback. And Mike, our old bartender from that one place where we drink a
Oh.
lot of beer at, he wants to come on the show.
Oh, that would be a good time.
Donkey.
Donkey.
Donkey wants to come on the show. So that would be fun.
That would be a good
We
time.
could have good beers and
'Cause-
hang out. Donkey's a good time.
He is. He's
I
a
don't
good
remember why his name is Donkey, but his name is Donkey.
time. It's a long story, and it was a customer that a
Oh,
young
yeah.
customer that gave it to him. But
Yeah,
it
but-
stuck.
I bet he has a lot of good stories.
I feel like any time you deal with the public, you probably have a lot of shit to say.
Well, he had good stories when we would talk to
Yeah.
him back then.
Yeah,
So I
absolutely.
could only imagine in the period of time that we have not seen him, the amount of stories he had.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
the stories he had then, we'd always sit there going, what the fuck, Mike? What are you doing?
Yeah.
But he's a good guy.
He is.
We like him.
Very much.
We
so.
miss him. So if you're listening, Donkey.
Donkey.
We miss
And
you.
we just haven't, we haven't been out. We don't go to that usual spot anymore.
No.
Actually, we were there today.
Not that location, though.
Not that location.
No. We were
But-
traitors.
It was a lunch date.
Yeah, with your dad.
It was a good time.
That was cute.
Yeah, it was a good time. That's the first time we had been there in a long time.
Yeah. That was the first time we've seen your dad in a long time.
It was.
He looked good.
And stepmom.
I wish he would. Yeah, and Marianne. I wish your dad would come on the show, but he won't.
No.
He even told me he won't.
He said,
He
point
said,
blank.
I'm not going to put myself out on there and that social media shit. And I said, I don't have to give your name.
But if we got him fired up and going, it'd be a good time.
It would be a really good time. He has so many good stories.
He does.
And I love when he just sits back and he crosses his hands over his chest and
You
he
know something's
sighs
coming.
and he's going to tell a really good story. He's like, listen here, kids.
Yes.
I'm going to.
You're about to get schooled.
You're going to learn something today. Is how it usually goes. But yeah, that was really fun. We decided at the end of it that we solved all the world's problems.
Oh,
after,
and what else did we determine?
What, that we're perfect?
We are perfect.
Oh yeah, and everyone else is fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty much the moral of the day, of the lunch date.
Sorry to break it to you. The rest of you.
We don't usually do lunch dates.
No, we don't. That's like the second time.
Well, in 6 years, we've only gone on one lunch date. And that was
Was very recent.
the day of Kevin's rehearsal
Was that the only one?
dinner.
though?
Yes, the only lunch date we've ever gone on.
Mhm. Yeah, we don't do it much.
I'm not guilt tripping you. I'm just saying.
No, yeah.
I think
we
it's weird.
just-
Like
yeah,
we're dinner people. We're not lunch people.
we're dinner people.
But I think it's crazy because we go to lunch. I come home and now it's 20 till 7. I'm fucking starving.
Are you?
I want to eat my microphone. I'm so hungry.
Do it.
But I figured I would just drown my sorrows and my hunger. My sorrows. I'm not sorry. I'm not sad. I don't know why I said that. I drown my hunger in wine. That's healthy, right?
That's what you're still getting calories.
Right. I figured it
So,
would fill me up. And
whatever.
I wouldn't be hungry
Same
anymore.
thing. What do they say? Pork chop in every beer or something like that? So you're
Oh, I didn't know that. What about wine?
same thing.
Well, I know there's probably like a bushel of grapes in there.
That you're getting your fruit intake.
This is definitely high class wine too. That's in here.
Yeah, you can get
It's like $5
a
wine.
50-gallon drum of it for like $13.
I am
Nothing
a cheap
but the
date.
best.
I am a cheap date.
But it actually tastes good. I'm not a big wine person.
I like the cheap shit sometimes.
That's not bad though.
I like good shit, but if I'm just gonna guzzle it down while I'm trying to drown out my hunger,
Well, the problem is we've done some like wine nights,
really good wine nights.
but we do work.
Oh man, we do real work, like real work. When we went to that really fancy winery that's local to us,
The one that we've only been to once.
yes,
Yes,
we did some work.
we did.
We drank a lot of wine.
We made like the night of it though.
So
We were there for.
let's describe this, and I would like people to give us some feedback on this and see if they are on our team or we'll call it my mom's team. So my mom.
Is this when it pertains to wine or what's the?
No.
Oh.
Going out.
Oh yeah.
So I'll give my mom's side of things first. So my mom and my dad typically, or like when they go out with like Kevin and Sarah, whatever, the golden children, when they go out with him, the most perfect children ever, not us. We're the
Bastard
outcasts.
stepchildren.
We're the outcasts. When they go out to dinner, it is like wham bam, thank you ma'am. Like get in, order your appetizer, order your meals real quick, eat and leave. And now they enjoy themselves. I'm not saying they don't have fun, but they just go, they eat dinner, and they leave. I'm sure that sounds very normal, and people are probably like, okay,
Yeah,
and what else
are
do
you
you
supposed
do?
to do? Like,
But the way Marcus and I like to go out, the way you and I, because I feel really weird, like I'm talking to some ghost in the room. I'm in a really weird mood
Yes,
today.
you kind of
I
are.
don't know what's happening. Secondly,
at
can
least
we
it's being documented.
just address the fact that I feel like this episode we have some like really big shoes to fill in because we were talking about nipple belts last episode. So like
So we may be a little more tame this time because we were off the reservation.
But that was so fun.
We did have a good time.
But I just feel like, how do you top that kind of episode?
Well, you can't.
Right.
But they can't all be
Nipple belts.
A+. Right? I mean,
Well, we can only talk about nipple belts so many times. I'm just going to see how many times I can throw out nipple belts in this episode.
hashtag
Nipple belts.
nipple belts.
Drink every time you hear me. Take a shot every time you hear me say nipple belts.
Nipples.
That's probably about 10 shots already for nipple
You gotta
belts.
catch up.
Up 11.
Yeah.
There you go.
You gotta catch up.
Anyways, when you and I go out, we like to sit, order a drink, hang out. Now, first off, I like to say that we Uber everywhere we go because we like to drink.
Yeah, if you're
before
gonna
we
go out and have some
Yeah.
drinks, yeah.
But we like to order a drink. We hang out for a little bit. We usually order an appetizer. We pick at the appetizer, just kind of relax, order a few more drinks, hang out. Then we order a dinner. And usually we do dinner that we share. We never like usually order
we do a
separate
lot of-
entrees.
yeah.
We do like a sharing meal. And then, not that we have to, but that's just
Right.
what we usually do. And then we kind of like hang out, pick at that, order some more drinks. Usually then we get super fucked up by that point. Then
And
we're
Donkey
hungry.
can attest to all this.
Oh yeah. He can definitely be our
So.
witness. Then we usually get a little more drunk. Then we're like, we're still hungry. So then we order like another appetizer, hang out, and like 6 hours have gone by. Maybe not that long.
Maybe not 6 hours.
Maybe like 4
But
hours.
we're not in and out. Like we like to
We're
take
there
our time.
forever.
And I will say,
We take care of our waiters.
we do. If we're gonna take up one of your tables
We take care of you.
so that you can't get more people in there, we will
Always.
reflect that in our tipping. I mean, I feel like that's only fair.
And we usually warn them ahead of time. We tell them like,
Yeah.
hey, because usually they come by the table and like they're quick. Like they
Yeah.
want to give you good service. So they'll come up to you and be like, hey, can I get you anything? Can I get you anything? Are you ready to order? Are you ready to order? So we're like, hey, it's okay.
Take a deep
We're
breath.
going to be here for a while.
Go take a break.
Yeah. Just make sure my drinks don't ever
Yeah.
reach the bottom here. So
Exactly.
just keep them on coming, until I tell you to stop. Then we
Yes.
then we can talk. But I just would like to know which team you guys are on, because we're team like take it easy. And your dad and Marianne are the same way,
I think that's where we got it from.
possibly. Because the
like,
first
even-
time I met them, we were at the restaurant in Cleveland for
forever.
Ever. And then we went to their house and we hung out there forever.
But even today,
drinking tequila.
Like it was a lunch thing. Marianne had to end up leaving. She had an appointment. We were there
for another hour or so after she left.
I mean, we were there for what, 4 hours
total? Yeah, something like that.
For lunch? Like, who does that? But it was. It's a good time because I feel it's important to spend that time.
Yeah.
You know.
But I would also say we don't go out often.
Yeah, so I think we make more of it when we finally.
And that's always my other argument is like I feel like some people go out on a regular basis, and so maybe I could understand that you can't go and just sit at restaurants for hours on end. But since we don't go out often, we just kind of make more of a thing of it. And like, let's make it worthwhile. If we're gonna Uber to get out to this place, we might as well sit there and hang out for a little bit. I'm not paying to Uber there and Uber right home.
Yeah.
But, I've enjoyed the fact that we have stayed home more because, one, I have so many things that I want to cook, and we only have 2 of us here, so only so many people can eat it. So if you live in our area and you want home-cooked meals on a Thursday or Friday, come on over. I like to cook.
Yeah, come on. It's not free, but you can come over.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
We're just going to charge you. I feel like it's only fair.
No, I'm not. God. No, I'm not. I love to make pasta and I love to make bread. Can we talk about how I would never eat pasta and bread together in one meal? And now I'm like, give me all the pasta, give me all the bread.
That's because it's different. It's a different feeling.
Why is it different?
It's not as heavy.
I just want you to give me a compliment.
It's just not as heavy.
Why is it different?
And it tastes better.
It does taste better.
It tastes a lot better.
Game changer is homemade pasta.
If you're making box pasta still,
yeah, you're a loser.
Get over it. Get off it.
Yeah, you just need to stop.
Just stop.
Might as well just eat cardboard.
You might as well.
Yeah, it's not doing anything for you. And like quit with like the there's this like new thing where like people are trying to do like chickpea pasta and
that's not pasta.
Like healthier stuff, and I hate that. You know how I am about like all this stuff, and it's like everything like they're trying to make it healthier. And look, I'm the first person to say that I've tried it all. I've tried to do like the low calorie stuff, and I know I still eat those shirataki noodles sometimes, like for lunch. But I like those. Which are different,
but they're not.
I like those for work though because they're not heavy for work dinners.
It's not like eating a box of pasta.
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm a barf. But if like fills me up dinner wise, where I don't feel like shit. But anyways, for like a meal, like a dinner meal, like that you're gonna cook at home, make the real thing. And I have to say, again, not like the skinniest, healthiest person ever, but I feel like my body responds a lot better to just eating like home cooked.
Oh yeah.
Like whole foods, like rather than trying to like substitute everything like cauliflower for everything. Like quit making fucking cauliflower pizza crust. Make homemade pizza crust.
Yeah.
Well, make homemade pizza crust. Like it tastes so much better.
Yes.
And I feel like your body just it wants it. And we've learned that you make that kind of stuff, like your body craves it, and you don't necessarily. Sometimes you want to eat the whole pizza, but like
most of the time,
well, it depends.
But you don't feel like
dog shit.
Yeah.
And it's not greasy, and it's not like all the things that you're getting like when you're ordering takeout or whatever, which I understand. Sometimes you are looking for that greasy pizza. I get it. That's what some people want. And sure, go for it if that's what you want. But I just think that nowadays there's so many substitutions for every kind of food. Like, and again, I understand if like some people, they're vegan or they're whatever. Right, that's different. But if you're just trying to be like quote unquote healthy.
Right.
Why don't you just try? Just do it. Just do it for me. Just try.
Do it.
Just do it. Instead of eating everything processed, try maybe just making it homemade. And you can make homemade pasta in advance because you can make it like one day. You can make a whole lot of it. You can dry it and you can keep it. Or you could make the dough in advance and you can freeze it.
So I didn't realize that about the pasta. So how long will if you dry it out, how long will it last? Because we've never, we always eat it.
I want to say it's like a month. You can dry
really?
it, and if you put in like an airtight container or something like that. But I never make it that long. It tastes better to me. Just
we always
make
eat it that day.
Roll it and throw it out, or if I or throw it in the pot, or I just let it dry from like that morning and then cook it that night or whatever. But it is such a game changer, and it doesn't take that long.
Maybe we should start you like a cooking channel then.
But I don't do anything I don't
you
do
don't
anything
have to,
different.
But
than
I think
like what
that's
other people
intimidating to people. You know what I mean? Like
do you
they're
mean?
probably like, oh my God, homemade pasta. Like you have to make this and you have to do this and there's so much to it. People are probably intimidated by it if they don't know
Well, yeah.
what it entails.
I mean,
you
my
know?
mom was like, oh my God, I can't believe you're making all this homemade stuff. And I'm like, okay. So when I started making the homemade bread stuff, she was like, how do you have time to make all this? I said, I don't think you understand how easy it is.
Yeah, it's not as crazy
It
as...
is, you know, you throw in the flour in the big tub. I had to buy like all that equipment. So I got that big tub. So you have to put the flour in the big tub and you have to pour the specific amount of water at the specific temperature.
When you say equipment, it's not like we had to buy this elaborate...
No, it's literally a plastic tub.
Yes.
It was a $20 tub.
Yes.
And I use it every time. You pour flour in a tub, you add water at a specific temperature and a specific amount. You have to weigh everything, like, and you have to get a certain kind of flour. You have to be picky about that. Not fancy. I still get it at Walmart. Like I can't get it at Aldi, but I can get it from Walmart.
You can also get meth there, but that's beside the point.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, you can get anything from there, but anything you want. If it's on the end cap, then it's a rollback too. So then you can get
score. Yeah. You just...
But, yeah, so you like throw the flour in I have a system, like throw the flour and then the water and you let it, it's called I think it's autolyse is how you pronounce it. That's how I say it in my head. Autolyse. Autolyse. Whatever. That thing.
Technical terms.
It sits in there for about 20 to 30 minutes. And like gets all, if like ferments or does something, I don't know. And then you sprinkle the yeast. I don't know the technicalities of it.
But it's not as bad as you would think. You sprinkle yeast and you sprinkle
salt on it. And then everyone says like, oh, you can't let the yeast and the salt touch each other. Well, Ken Forkish says, yes, you can, bitches. So I let it touch each other. That sounded really weird. And then you just you do a series of folding and the pincer method. Pincer. You have to squeeze the dough and like make it like separate it with. If you're watching YouTube,
I know. This is why I'm watching you do a little.
That was like the video.
It's like you're pinching a.
I know, whatever. So, anyways, so you do a series of pincers and folds, and you let it sit for about 10 minutes. You fold it one more time, and then you fold it about 2 to 3 more times within an hour and a half, and poof, you got dough in like...
And then you bake that shit.
And then you bake that shit in a Dutch oven for 30 minutes.
Do you have to cook it or bake it in a Dutch oven?
At least the bread
I guess it would give it...
It gives
that's
that
what gives
crust,
it that... Well, and it gives it its shape too, right? Because if you threw it on like a sheet pan, wouldn't it just kind of go... bleh?
Well, my dough balls have like a good form to them. Like
okay.
they're formed in like
I don't know what I'm talking about.
A
then.
nice, like pretty
curious.
ball. I love forming the dough balls. I think that's my favorite part. When like I get like my little, you have to tuck your pinky like under the ball, and you have to kind of like twist it around and form it.
That's what she said.
Oh my God! Stop!
I've been waiting to throw that one out there.
But I love making the dough balls. It's so fun. I just like making bread. It's very I don't want to call it therapeutic. That sounds lame, but I like making bread.
Yeah.
And this is coming from the girl who everyone that's listening, that's my family, can attest to the fact that I never ate freaking bread ever because bread was bad. But bread is delicious.
We do need to try a sourdough. I know that's a lot more involved, but I think it would be good to try.
Yeah, because I gotta like feed the.
Yeah, that's a crazy process.
Thing, like all this stuff. Like that's a lot to think about ahead of time. My bread tastes good.
It does. It tastes very good. We do whole wheat.
Rye. And white bread. The white bread, though, that one I made with the Polish and the Biga, that was the ones that was like extra fermenty. Remember when it was like it smelled like alcohol when you opened it?
Yeah.
And I was like, this is going to be a good one. That was a good bread. But it took like 24 hours to make that bread because it has to like sit. And it didn't take me 24 hours. It just has to sit.
Yeah, it's just
like
the process.
Yeah. I just think it's worth it, you know, and I know it's stupid. Like everyone started making bread in COVID, and I wasn't like trying to be one of those people, but
it was you couldn't find yeast.
No, I had to stock up on it.
I
had to order it from Amazon.
You could not find it.
I had to order it from Amazon. But I wasn't trying to like jump on that bandwagon, but I figured if we're gonna be home and I have to start cooking, like I'm gonna cook us date nights because we couldn't go out because prior to COVID we did go out a lot more. Like shit, I might as well make good meals because we had nothing else to do. I mean, you're just at home hanging out, like there's nothing else going on. So shit, let's make bread and pasta, you know, pizza and everything else. So That's fun. But I couldn't. My mom told me, she was like, you should do a cooking YouTube channel. And I said, what the fuck am I going to put on there, Mom? I said, I copy everyone else's recipes, or like I shouldn't say copy. Like I take their recipe and like do a spin of my own. I said, I'm not going to copy other people's recipes and like try to sell them as my own.
Well, maybe we should leave it up to our listeners.
They're going to say the same thing. It's the same damn thing that everyone else does.
Don't tell them that.
No, because that Half-Baked Harvest chick, I get a lot of my ideas from her.
Right.
And she's a sweetheart. She's from the Cleveland area.
Originally. Mm-hmm. She's out west now, though, yeah.
Yeah, she's in Colorado. But she's awesome. Like, there's a bug in here. This is weird. She has, like, 1 million, I don't know, she's some ridiculous amount of people on Instagram. And you can message her. She answers you within, like, a couple hours. Like, she's very sweet. I sent her a recipe that I did that was a spin-off of hers.
Was that green pizza?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I got the idea of that green pizza because it was something that she had made, and I kind of like came up with my own idea from it. And I sent it to her, and I was like, hey, this is what I made. You know, a lot of her recipes are similar, and this is not a knock on her. She has a theme to what she does, and what she does is very successful. Right. So you might as well just keep rolling with it. And so I sent it to her, and I was like, hey, like, you are more than welcome to use this down the road. Like, it's super good. And every time I ask anyone if they want pizza in our family, what do they say? Green pizza. That's what I don't know why we call it green pizza, but that's what they say.
I don't know. It's just kind of, there's a lot of greens on it.
That's because everything on it is green. Green olive, asparagus, spinach. What else? I don't even know what else is on it. Everything is green.
Artichoke.
But that's not even green. It's like yellow. Whatever.
Still good.
But yeah, I don't even know how we got on this topic.
I don't know how we get on half the topics we get.
Nipple belt. You better take a shot.
Nipple belt.
That's a second shot. Oh, man. So did you have any ideas of what you want to talk about today?
No, not at all. We were just going to get on here and kind of rant and chit chat. And if you got something, send it. But
well, so we kind of started talking about with your dad, like about the stuff with like kids in schools. And we also kind of talked about with my mom. So I thought it would be kind of like interesting to kind of build upon that. Yeah. So one of the things that bothers me with the children in school is sex education. And I'm not super educated on it, so this is just my opinions and my ranting on it. So do your own reading, people, and do not take my word for the Bible. But it's my understanding that a lot of the education in schools now is very abstinence-based in some places, or like they're not doing sex education at all. So I guess that would be abstinence-based because they're not even teaching about sex education. And I think that that's not good for kids because, you know, my theory when it comes to kids too, when I always say like they don't do things for no reason or whatever, but also if you don't teach them about something, their curiosity is going to get the best of them, and they're gonna figure it out for themselves.
Well, yeah, whether they're teaching it in school or not, it's still going to exist. So you might as well have a leg up and educate.
Where do you think, if the schools are not going to teach it to them, where do you think they're going to get the information?
Social media, the internet. Yes.
And so, actually, one of the things that we follow on our Instagram, I know that you don't see it. I have to figure out a way to get you on our Instagram.
We tried, and they yelled at us because they
said it was like
boosting
violating,
likes or something.
Violating community guidelines or something, like having you on there. I was like, what? Don't you know that he doesn't do anything on our Twitter?
Yeah, if you only knew.
Yeah, he's not gonna do anything. But anyways, it's actually, let me look it up. I think it's like Exodus. Oh my God, I'm ruining everything over here. I want to get the name right. Exodus Cry. That's their handle on Instagram. So they talk about ending trafficking and sexual exploitation. We still need to talk about trafficking, but I need a whole episode to talk about trafficking.
Yeah,
we need to not just roll into it. We need to just get into it because I want to talk about it. And I keep saying that for all these episodes. But they are trying to get a age thing put on for like porn, like viewing porn. And the problem is because children get on there, and essentially is what's happening is that children aren't getting taught about sex in school.
You mean some type of
like age restriction?
How do you enforce that?
Let me ask you this. For our viewers, how old were you the first time you ever watched porn? Like, did you, because I'm sure at a very young age, curiosity got the best of you. You probably Googled it. Because the internet came out when you and I were, it started getting bigger when you and I were kids. Yeah, but
we didn't have a computer at home for...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, we had one because my mom was in...
Like, not immediately, we didn't have one when it came out. Like, I never had dial-up.
Really?
By the time we got a computer, we had...
You never had dial-up?
Mm-mm.
Oh, no. Man.
No, by the time we got a computer, we had like a modem and stuff. So I was probably...
You never had to experience that like horrible wait time of that?
No, like, going to some of my friends' house and stuff, they had it. Dial-up.
Yeah.
But
now I get pissed when it takes 5 seconds for something to load. And dial-up is like you'd be waiting around forever for it to...
So, no.
So you never...
I don't know.
I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
No, probably 15.
So I think the average age for males is like...
No, I might have been... No, I was younger than that. 13 to 15.
Okay.
Somewhere in there, because by the time we got it and it was available and all that stuff. So
I think that was the average age for boys.
Makes sense.
I think now it's gone down to 11.
Cell phones.
Yes.
Which I think is another...
Yes. So here's a couple issues that come from that. So girls are the same thing. When I had the internet...
Is there an average age for females?
I would say girls are probably around the same age. I don't have like a specific answer, but I would say it's around the same age. Because you think about when puberty starts and curiosity starts.
I just didn't know if there was like
start figuring out like what is going on with my body, like what is happening right now. Why am I starting to think boys are cute and vice versa? Like boys don't really usually start being attracted to girls until a little bit later, just because they begin puberty a little bit later than girls, and obviously their brains work just a little bit differently than girls, like the way just they're focused, on things. Girls start thinking boys are cute. We start having crushes on boys, and boys are still like, oh, girls are gross. Like, we don't want anything to do with it. Whatever. So, but I remember being on the internet and like pop-ups coming up, and like it was like porn shit that would like come up, and I'm like this kid going, what in the fuck is this? But like you can't help but go, what is this?
Well,
like, you don't know what it is, and so you're like clicking on it. I remember I got so many viruses on our computer. My mom would be like, what the fuck are you doing on our computer? And I'm like, I don't know.
Between that and LimeWire.
Well, yeah, LimeWire. I really fucked up our computer when we did. I was not supposed to be on LimeWire, and I was downloading everything on LimeWire. I fucked our computer up so bad. But like pop-ups would come up. I mean, you'd be on like chat rooms and things like that, which are a horrible thing.
That's another thing I never had.
You never were in chat rooms?
Mm-mm.
You'd be in a chat room. I remember like going into like some of these gaming chat rooms. Like you would go into these like, I can't even think. I can picture them in my head, but just like, not virtual reality. I don't know. They were like stupid little games or whatever. You were not, I didn't play in those virtual reality games, but you could chat with people, and they would ask you like, it'd be, I think it was ASL, like age, sex, ASL, question mark, age, sex, location.
Oh, really?
And so I think now with my cop brain, all these years later, like how many pedophiles are probably on there? Because then they would ask you like, oh, what color is your hair? What color is your eyes? How tall are you? What's your build? What's your, like all sorts of creepy questions. And it's like, when you're thinking about it and you're a 14-year-old girl or whatever age I was, what 14-year-old boy is thinking about these questions? Right. Like those are probably like 50-year-old creepy men on there asking, these questions or whatever. That's horrible. But anyways, my issue with the porn and the lack of sex education in schools, so it's a twofold issue, is kids aren't learning this stuff in school, or they're learning a very moderated version of sex ed. Like what? Let's backtrack. What did you learn in sex education?
Oh my God. I don't want to say everything because I don't even know what everything would be, but I mean, they discussed pregnancy, STDs, how to have safe sex, demonstrating putting a condom on,
So it wasn't scare tactics. It was just like, here's the reality.
I think some of it was to an extent with teenage pregnancy and different STDs that you can catch, and so I'm sure that was maybe that wasn't the point behind it.
Well, I don't think schools should be promoting. They shouldn't be promoting it.
But at the same time, I mean, I feel like they tried to give us a little bit of a harsh reality of here are some of the realities that come along with those actions.
But I think that's a good education, is giving the realities of it and putting it all out there.
Yeah, it's not like STDs are this fake thing that people make up to scare you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or pregnancies, this fake thing that obviously most of us are adults. We know how that works. So I don't feel like it was necessarily a scare tactic.
And kids aren't stupid. So again, if you're not going to teach them something, they're going to go figure out a way to, learn it themselves. Right. And so especially now with the availability of the internet, smartphones, tablets, all the things, they have the access to look these things up, in the palm of their hand, and it's so much easier. So for me, I don't remember it like vividly. I was telling my mom, I think you were out there when I was telling her about my Catholic school experience. Yeah. So this wasn't sex ed. This was just they separated the boys and the girls, and it was like, I obviously don't know what they told the boys. It was probably like, don't ever touch a girl. Right. It's when you get
Cooties
married.
Are a real thing.
Because this is Catholic school, remember, with the nuns and everything. And for the girls, it was like, you're going to get your period someday. And they gave us this pamphlet. And I remember reading through this pamphlet mortified, going, oh my God, what is happening to my body? Like, this is horrible. And so it was traumatizing. But so that was my initial education. And then high school, I want to say it was like freshman year, I think, is my like health class was when I had it. And I remember my teacher, and I remember, now I remember, I don't want to remember this now. I remember watching a birthing video, and it was all there.
I think we did too.
It was all there. It was more than I ever wanted to see in my entire life. I don't ever want to see that again. And I feel like it was I remember learning about all the STDs, like, so it was probably the same thing. Educational.
They might have had like a state standard or something back then. I don't know, but
now, from my understanding, it's not like that. And I feel like there's some schools, which shouldn't be a shocker to anyone nowadays with everything else that's going on, that you can opt your child out from learning sex education because if you don't want them to be exposed to that or whatever. But here's my question. As a parent, if you're going to opt your child out from learning about that, are you going to take it upon yourself and teach your child all those things?
Somebody has to, right? I mean, let's be honest, because even as a parent, don't be naive to think about how you were when you were 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. You know what I mean?
Right.
Let's be honest. Yeah. Like if the schools, and even if the school is doing it, maybe you need to have that harsh reality.
I think parents should still talk to their kids.
Absolutely. I don't think it's this thing, well, the school's got it covered, we're good. Because
is a kid going to raise their hand and ask a question in school?
Well, and that's the other thing. Yeah.
Like, I would hope your boys, that they could come to you if they ever had a question and be able to ask you a question. Yeah. Once they get a little bit older, that like, hey Dad, like, I don't understand this. Like, can ask you. I mean, even now, if they came and asked you, because they're at that age now of where they're going to start learning about those things. And I hope they're not learning it from the internet. Right. But going to the porn side of things is that, what worries me and what concerns me, and I'm not trying to sound like I'm a freaking feminist and all this shit, but, I am not a porn watcher, but I am also not an idiot, and I know what is involved in porn and what porn is. I'm not stupid. Yeah. And when children are watching porn, think about how impressionable they are. Yes. And if they don't know anything else about sex, relationships, love, what it means to be in a committed relationship, a loving relationship, and obviously not being mature enough to know that being in a committed, loving relationship is not all about sex, and that there's so much more to a relationship that you're gonna build upon. That's not what you have to focus on.
Your only influence and outlet for that can't be the porn world. You know what I mean? Like, how do you
Well, right.
Because there is going to be no separation between the two.
Correct. And so when they're watching this, though, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, I mean, I don't want to know if you're watching porn or whatever. Like, you do whatever you want to do. But obviously, I don't watch it. But it is from my understanding from, like, the things that I've read on it. And I read that one book, Girls and Sex.
Mm-hmm.
Remember I told you, like, it was a great book. Peggy Orenstein wrote it. It was a really, really good book. But specifically in that book, it talked about how, young girls specifically, we'll talk about them first, they watch the porn because they're curious about their bodies, first off. And second off, they're curious because they don't understand about sex, because they're like, what happens during sex?
Right.
No one will tell me what happens during sex. And like, what is all this about? Like, everyone's keeping this big secret from you. Like, what's this thing about? And obviously being naive and young and dumb, they watch it and they think that the way that they have to be treated in sex, let's be honest, sex is usually violent towards women. And I'm not talking about it's every time it's hitting women, but...
You mean porn?
I'm sorry, that's what I meant.
Okay.
Correction,
Okay.
porn.
Yes.
Porn is violent, or sex in porn is violent towards women. It's not treating women in kind, sensual way. Like,
right.
It's very... violent and...
There's nothing realistic
harsh,
about it. Yeah.
But children don't know that.
Right.
I could look at it and know there's nothing real about that. You could look at it and know there's nothing real about that. Anyone else in their right state of mind could know that porn is not real. It is acting. There are porn actors out there who say, I am a porn actor. But children can look at that and they don't know the difference. And so a girl's going to look at that and think, okay, so I need to basically just lay down and let someone do whatever and anything that they want to me. And that's how I have to act. And that's what is going to be, the best way, for me to perform during sex as I get older. And, when I lose my virginity and blah, 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 as I get older and older. Now, a boy's going to watch porn. That's going to be the same thing. Let's make sure I have my terminology correct. I'm not saying sex is violent.
Right.
Porn is violent.
Right.
He's going to watch porn because he knows nothing about sex, because no one will talk to him. Parents won't talk to him. Everyone thinks it's freaking awkward because no one wants to say penis, vagina, sex, whatever.
Right.
And he's going to watch that and he's going to think, oh, wow, like, this is how you have sex? I have to be, this is what I have to do. He probably doesn't, it doesn't even cross his mind that that's violent.
Right.
They just think that's what you
what
do.
It is,
that's
yeah.
what girls like. This is what she's going to enjoy or whatever it is, because of course it's acting. So people on both sides are acting as though they like whatever is happening during these scenes. And so these children are going to mimic this. And then you wonder why we get into situations where people are making claims of sexual assault or unwanted sexual, interactions or whatever it is. And it's like, did you ever think that maybe if we educated our children and educated young people better on sex and gave them more of a well-rounded...
You could probably avoid a lot of that. Yeah.
Because if you're going into anything with a solid education on the subject matter, you're going to be less curious and be more like, I'm probably... kids are pretty amazing.
Yeah.
If you kind of take all like the mystery out of it, they're kind of probably be like, I don't really like. I'm not going to be really into that. Like whatever. Like that kind of sounds gross. Like that's gross. Whatever. But if you leave some mystery to it, that's when they're going to want to try it and they're going to want to experiment and they're going to think that, oh, that's the cool thing to do. That's what the cool kids do. And again, you're watching porn, and then porn makes it look cool. And then, the girls look like they're enjoying it. And the boys obviously look like they're enjoying it. It's all acting. And I just think that that's a terrible way for children to learn about sex.
So what are some of the things they're trying to implement as far as like age verification? Because again, how do you make that foolproof?
I don't know. Like I should do like some more digging into this Exodus, because they try to.
Because like I've gotten on alcohol websites before, and they're like, "Are you 21?" And I'm like, "Yes."
Yes.
Like, okay, and obviously that's alcohol, but what's going to be? You know what I mean? What's the full safe method to that? I don't know how you.
Would you have to like enter in your driver's license or something like that? I mean, or like have to.
Do you want not you, but do you want porn companies to have driver's license numbers. Like
maybe that's a deterrence from people going on porn.
Who's gonna
because here's my
prove again? What's the fail-safe method to that?
But here's my other argument. I'm not a fan of porn.
No,
let's just be honest. But I'm not a fan of porn, and I'm not a fan of the porn industry because I also am very what's the word I'm looking for? Passionate about sex trafficking, and I would like to get involved in ending this someday.
Right.
And so porn and the porn industry contributes to sex trafficking. And so to me, how can I support even keeping an industry alive?
Right. That just perpetuating
correct. That's something that I want to help abolish someday.
Excuse me.
So I don't agree with porn. I think you can how do I want to put this eloquently? You are free to do whatever you want to do when it comes to your sexuality and however you want to, live out those fantasies in your own private space.
Right.
Whatever. But I don't agree with this availability that it's just out there on the internet for children to be able to have access to it. If it's going to be out there, and sure, if there's going to be a platform for it, and I'm sure there will still be sex trafficking that will be involved. I mean, it's never going to end.
Right.
I mean, as much as you would like to say you can end sex trafficking, prostitution is the oldest, known occupation. Like,
right.
It's not going anywhere, for a very long time, unfortunately. But I think that there needs to be some very strict guidelines around it. And no offense, if you're going to sign up and you want to watch porn that desperately, then fucking put it in your shit. And, then maybe that'll just kind of wind down, the amount of people that are in it. Because how do you know? Like, I'm not trying to be like creepy when I ask you this question. When you arrest some of these juveniles at work, this is aside from porn. This has nothing to do with porn. When you arrest some of these juveniles at work and they tell you they're 14, how many times did you think that this girl was 18, 19 years old?
Yeah. Yeah,
you cannot tell the
Right.
difference. So you're telling me that when you watch porn, not necessarily anyone in general watches porn, you're telling me that you can tell the age of I'm sure you could look up, I'm guessing here, I'm throwing it out here. I'm sure this is a crazy wild guess. You could look up like young, hot, whatever, porn. And you're telling me that you could tell the difference between a 14-year-old and an 18-year-old or a 16 and an 18-year-old.
Right.
And here we're looking at a juvenile and an adult. Like, we're really, that's some really gray area there. And again, I understand that there's professional like porn stars out there and if they're okay with and they're giving consent and whatever, that's fine. But I just think that there needs to be more stricter guidelines because the education that we're giving to our children, not my children, but the children in general, I just think is so wrong because they're so impressionable.
So why have they gotten away from it? Is it the fear of we're going to turn them onto it if they aren't already doing it? Or looking into, why would you get away from the sex education aspect at all? Like, it's been in the curriculums for, I don't know how long. I'm guessing a very long time. So to get away from it?
My best guess is that it's that thought that, if we, like, out of sight, out of mind. Like, we're implanting an idea in their head. Like, if we talk about it.
That's common fucking sense to think back to when those administrators who are now 50 years old, think back to when you were that age. Was it out of sight, out of mind then? But
here's the ironic thing. And I won't get on like a crazy tangent with it. But you're telling me that if my theory is correct, like why we don't want to talk too much like about sex education, we're basically allowing children just to learn it on their own because kids are smart and they're going to learn. And fucking TikTok and OnlyFans and all that shit that's out. They're gonna learn. They're gonna learn.
Yeah.
Fuck our Instagram. I couldn't tell you how many porn stars have followed us on our Instagram. And I'm like, block this shit.
Or you get on there and everybody's shaking their ass or they're half dressed.
Yeah.
So
they're gonna get an education outside of school. So wouldn't it be better just to Just lay it all out there in the school. But here's the irony is that if my theory is correct, that if you're afraid to quote unquote give like them the idea and implant that in their brain, and it's going to make them go out and give, have sex with everyone and all this, whatever, then why, unless this is what their goal is, then why are we giving children the option and the idea of choosing what gender they want to be in schools? Because if they truly had gender dysphoria and they truly were feeling uncomfortable in their own bodies, wouldn't they just choose, that gender on their own? But instead, you're basically implanting the idea in their head that what they already are is not okay, and they need to choose something else. Does that make sense?
So has one issue taken over the other?
Oh, for sure. Critical race theory and the gender issue has completely overtaken
and look, I'm
else.
sure there's no other type, in some schools, not all. I'm sure there is no other curriculum
Let me Google
at all.
Sex education. It was back in the day. There was a study done, and I wish I could recall, but it showed that abstinence, maybe it was that book that I read, abstinence-based education actually increased the number of teen pregnancies.
Right.
And it was like the state of West Virginia. I just read something recently. I should have freaking printed it out. It was like the state of West Virginia did something like that, and it was a similar state in that area where they promoted abstinence only, blah, blah, blah. And teen pregnancies were through the roof. I mean, just crazy through the roof. And then a similar state, not so far away, whatever it was, did the exact opposite, where they basically laid it all out there, like, here it all is. And teen pregnancies were like non-existent in the state. And it's like, why don't you sit that side by side and go, that's interesting. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, a little bit of common
take
sense.
That, and go, we need to educate our kids, because again, it's not about keeping it from them, because they're gonna learn.
One way or the other,
learn
it's
in
gonna happen.
A bad way, and we're basically if we're allowing them to learn on their own, they're gonna learn really negative outlooks on, like, about sex, and potentially have a bad relationship when it comes to sex and relationships and love and all the things when they get older. Like, I can only imagine, like, if you're basing your relationships and your idea of love and sex and relationships on porn, because no one else will take the time and explain it to you, and quit calling it the fucking birds and the bees, like, just lay it out there for your kids. Oh, let me plug this while I'm thinking about it, because this really bothers me too. So I learned in a sexual assault class that I went to. So this isn't sex education, but it goes along with teaching your kids. When you teach your kids about their body parts and about everything, their anatomy and everything, a lot of interviewers who interview child sexual assault victims, they find it very difficult interviewing children. Children, interviewing them in general can be very difficult. It's a completely different tactic. Like, for us, if we get a child sexual assault victim that comes into us, we're going to send them off to a unit in a hospital that they're going to have a specific interviewer. It's really amazing. I got to sit in on one time because I just so happened to get involved in it. It was a really cool experience. I was able to participate. But the interviewer sits in this room with the child, does the interview, and you sit in this conference room, basically, and you look for the interview with everyone else involved in the investigation, and get to listen to the interview. But only one person's interviewing that child. But the biggest thing that I learned in this sexual assault class that they were teaching was that a lot of parents, I don't know if it's embarrassment, I don't know what it is, but, like, they'll call little girls' vaginas like flowers, or your cookie, or your I'm trying to think of some of the other stupid names that they came up with. Like, Yeah, we'll go with flour and cookie. Like those are the dumbest ones I can think of. And then, like, would be like a dumb name for like a little boy. Like you're, I don't know. I can't even come up with like something dumb.
Let's hear it. What do you
I
got?
can't even come up with something like at the top of my head, but just like a dumb nickname that they would. I mean, you could come up with anything. Like you could call it your.
Do you think it's that, or do you think parents don't want their kids running around going penis and vagina and penis and vagina?
I understand that, but like, God forbid something happens to your child,
right?
And they can't, like, it's hard to differentiate. Like, it's just easier if you just teach
if you
your
know what it
children
is, right?
their anatomy. Now, I will say that interviewers are taught, like if you taught your child to call their vagina a flower, then that interviewer will then refer to, once they've established that they refer to it as a flower, they will then refer to it as a flower for the rest of you mimic, their language and whatever they're using. But it would just be so much easier instead of the embarrassment of teaching children these names that you think you're kind of, just teach them the right things, and maybe just try to teach them to not run around yelling penis and vagina, because I feel like, I don't have kids, but I feel like you could probably, and if they run around yelling penis and vagina, then maybe it's gonna happen. But funny story to that, save the embarrassment, because for some reason when I was a child I thought children were born out of your big toe, and that's because my mom has a larger big toe, and I thought babies were born out your big toe.
You think the natural way is hard? You should try doing it through your big toe.
And yeah, it was very embarrassing when I got about 29 years old and found out that babies weren't born out your big toe. So
I hope you were a little younger than 29.
It was like 27.
That's better.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think of all that? Like, I just think it's crazy.
I agree. We've made this point on a lot of different topics. The internet and social media is not really where you should be learning a lot of things, that included. Because like you said, you're not going to get you're not going to get facts. I think it's something that needs to be taught.
Yeah.
I mean, I really do. I think it should be brought back into the schools and it should be taught. And again, you as a parent have to be able to have the follow-up conversations, or answer the questions. And I guess it's probably a little bit uncomfortable, but really, like, would you rather have to deal with some of the other negative consequences versus sitting down and having just a conversation about what it is?
I mean, you think too, so more so than just the consequences of them being younger. But think about the long-term consequences.
Well, yeah.
So you look at and I can only speak from like the female side of things, and the things I've read, because I can relate to them like as a female and understand them from a female perspective. So for girls, when they grow up, when they haven't learned about sex properly, and they haven't learned, or I should say, they've learned about sex through porn, and no one's explained to them what a good, loving relationship, or say they haven't had a good role model for a loving relationship, so take viewing porn as their, guide for sex, and then not having a stable family home that's like the ultimate. They're just not going to have a very good role model. But even if they have a loving mom and dad, but they're still getting their idea of this is how they think that they need to be when it comes to sex, that's still not good. But anyways, when they do get older and they do become sexually active, say they've, they're still being safe when it comes to sex. They're, using protection, they're on birth control, whatever it is. So we've gotten beyond that. They got that message. Let's at least be safe with sex. We're not worried about that thing. But you still have to think about the issues of consent. Right. And that's also become an issue. And I'm not here trying to argue that, people are falsely making accusations of sexual assault or things like that. I've always said I've been the believer. I've always been the person that I go in believing, and there's always been campaigns that say, like, start by believing.
Right.
Before I've even heard those campaigns, I've always been the believer. Okay. And I still want to wholeheartedly believe that. However, I will say that from what I've been reading, it sounds like there's been a lot more, I'm not talking about our department, I'm just talking in general. There have been a lot more reports of sexual assault that are being more of this gray area, okay? And I say this gray area because they are sexual assaults reported on college campuses between 2 college students at a drunken college party. Now, here's the question, and I just would like your opinion on it. Consent requires consent from both parties.
Right.
Okay. And consent usually involves, you shouldn't be intoxicated. I mean, you need to have a solid state of mind to be able to make that consent. You know, you can't be blacked out drunk and be able to you can't have consent, you know, at that point in time. So, you know, I forget like the term that they're using, but basically, you know, male and female, they're having sex at this party. Girl wakes up the next morning and essentially people are saying that she's having regret. She thinks she was sexually assaulted because she doesn't remember what happened that night. She goes and reports getting sexually assaulted and doesn't necessarily go anywhere, or the boy gets expelled from college. Basically, his life gets ruined. However, you have to also think too, what if that male was also highly intoxicated and probably not in the right state of mind in order to make, you know, that conscious consenting decision to have sex? Who's wrong in that decision? I think they're both wrong.
I agree.
And I don't think
maybe wrong isn't the right term.
Right's not
neither one of them are correct in their actions and what they're doing.
Do you consider a sexual assault?
No. Not if they're both on that same it's
a very tough it is, but it isn't. But
not
it is
in the
but
way
it isn't.
that you just explained it. Now, if she's fighting, kicking, screaming, no, I don't want.
Correct.
That's obviously
That's
one thing.
different.
No matter the level of intoxication for both.
Correct.
In that situation, no. I don't think you can determine fault or have an intent. And I think that is a big thing to look at with any crime that you're looking at, is the intent of what would be the suspect or the violator or whatever the case may be. And I feel like if it's not there, especially in a situation like that, I don't see how you move forward.
I don't know the numbers and I don't know the specifics, but I know that there have been some males who have been expelled from their colleges based on these accusations, and I think that that's wrong. So I'm not trying to stand up for these boys. I'm not trying to defend them. But if those situations are going in where they're too drunk. But is that the extent
of the story?
So who knows?
Or, you know what I mean?
There's more to it.
Because maybe they found something else out and they're like, look, you don't have grounds for criminal actions
you're
here.
right. Maybe
However,
you're right.
You are not going to be a part of our school based on
maybe you're right.
X, Y, and Z or whatever the case
Correct.
may be.
Maybe you're right. But here's my point, is that if we start teaching children, teens, be more open with them about sex education, what a good, loving, committed, all those good, not just teaching them about sex. You don't have to just talk about just the specifics and like the, you know, the A, B's and C's of sex, like just maybe talking to them about like what love is and what, you know, all those things and what you should want out of a relationship and want out of a partner, and not just, be looking to have sex with anything that moves and whatever. And if they're still a virgin at that point and waiting for, I hate saying like the right person, but waiting till you're ready. I think that's a better term to use for someone, because I think saying waiting for the right person, I think that brings a wrong frame of mind to it, because when that person ends up not being the right person after, when they break their heart and they break up with them, people get devastated. How about we just say, wait till you're ready. You're ready. When you are ready to make that decision and you're mature enough to make that decision for yourself, and when you, after that happens, are able to mentally handle what, you know, just occurred, then you know you're ready. But having those conversations with them, I think we're going to minimize the this gray area of where consent is being questioned, because it is my opinion that because of porn, because of the lack of education, because of all these things combined, and because of, I don't want to say the culture we live in, but to some degree, like just kind of everything, the way it's kind of culminated, I think there's a lot of girls who think that they have to have sex with boys to get them to like them. And they think that if they have sex with, boy A, B, C, D, or, or just A or just D, or whoever those people are, that those boys are going to like them. And they get themselves in a position where those boys, no offense to, they just are looking for sex at that point. Their sex drive is a completely different thing than a girl's sex drive, because we're looking for a connection, a relationship, and boys are more physically motivated. And that's okay. That's where a male's headspace is at that age. But educating them more on consent and what should be expected at that point in time, instead of just the physical act, I think is really going to alleviate this gray area of what consent is.
Right.
Because I think at that age of 17, 18, 19, even 20 years old, do you even understand you're consenting, but do you even fully understand what you're consenting to? Like, or are you just doing it because this is what you think you need to be doing? Yeah. And when someone breaks your heart at the end of it, you can't just turn around and say, well, he just did something to me that I didn't consent to. Like, that doesn't count. Like, that's not sexual assault. Like, you consented to it. Right. So I think there's a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of miseducation going around here. And I think we're really doing a disservice to children and teens and even our college age students, because I think they just don't have a full understanding of a very mature thing that, people take part in. And yes, we wouldn't be here without sex. Everyone exists because someone had sex and you were born. Shocker. Ta-da!
Yeah. If you didn't know, now you know.
Now you know. Sorry, and it didn't come out your big toe. So, and that all rhymed. That was great.
Most importantly. Dropping raps and all kinds of shit over here.
But I think we're doing a disservice by not giving them a full education. And I think that's in part from the schools, and I think that's in part from the parents. Yeah. And I think you have to kind of give that or get that from everywhere.
Just like anything, I feel a lot of it traces back to your home life and being the responsibility of the parents. Yeah. Right? And that's not necessarily a knock on anyone, but schools and counselors and all this other shit can only teach your kids so much. You have to be present and teach your kids on your own. You have to. Like,
which
there's
is not a lot of parents, unfortunately. Right. So I know I'm asking a lot here, but I feel like I'm seeing this pattern, and I also hear it. Like when I talk to girls and when I'm reading things, it's like you hear this like subliminal message that it's this have tos and musts and shoulds. Like, I have to do this with my body because I have to have this boy like me, and I have to behave in this way in order for him to like me, because I have to basically mimic this porn that I watched when I was 14 years old, but that's not even what I like. And that's probably what she's thinking, that I don't even like this. This doesn't even feel good for me. This hurts me.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what if that industry does anything at all. You know what I mean?
I hope it just explodes.
Because do they really care? Like, if they're not on the hook for anything,
shit.
They don't care. And before the internet, it was easy because you had to go to a store.
Yeah.
And why are those stores everywhere on the interstate?
Yeah, like Lion's Den and like what's some of the other weird ones? Like,
really weird. And
like, how do they stay in business?
If you're still going to those places, you need to get with the times because you don't have to.
So I went into a porn store with my mom one time.
Whoa, this just got
I know, it got really weird. So I'll give context. I went in there because I was the maid of honor for my cousin Megan, who I know is listening, her bachelorette party. And we were trying to get supplies for the bachelorette party. Well, I was 20. Yeah, because I turned 21 for her bachelorette parties. Are you allowed in porn stores? At 18, I think
I
you
think
are.
you just have to be 18.
So,
Yeah.
but anyways, I went in with my mom because she had the credit cards, so she's buying everything. So, but we bought penis cake tins, which I think she still has somewhere in the back of her cupboard because we were supposed to make them for Sarah, and Sarah threatened my life and told me that I was not allowed to make them. No, she was not a fan
wing
of that.
cakes, yeah.
We bought that. We bought like a bunch of weird shit that was like bachelor related, but I'm like, I can't believe I'm in a porn store with my mom. Like, this is one thing that's going to go down in history, and this is never going to happen again. Like, can we get out of here or whatever? But the experiences I've had with that woman, but I don't even remember, like, and this is not a knock on my parents, I don't even remember like really talking about sex with them.
Yeah.
But again, I think it was kind of taboo. Like, you don't really have those conversations.
Yeah.
I think we need to get beyond that.
Yeah, I think we kind of need to change with the times and move forward. And
if Nicki Minaj can put a song out called WAP, what does WAP stand for?
Which is another wet ass pussy.
Yeah, if we can put that freaking song out, then we can tell our kids about sex.
But
it can be a #1 song.
Yeah, that's a whole nother rant for another day.
Kids are dancing to it on TikTok.
Yes.
And that's okay, but you won't talk to your kid about consent and sex and maybe wanting, instead of just having sex with the first thing that moves.
It's always thrown in their face.
Yeah.
And they're just going to have to figure it out.
That's what I'm saying. They have to learn to navigate it on their own instead of having someone say, hey, just because all these songs and porn and the internet says that you have to do these things, you don't have to do those things.
Yes.
You get to do what you want to do. Yeah. And guess what? All these things, these are all superficial and they're all fake. Just like when it comes to going back to like the health industry. Talking to our young girls, and I know boys can be affected by it too, but talking to our young girls and going, hey, those girls that you see on Instagram, they are not real. They're not real. It's called Facetune. It's called BodyTune. It's called whatever other shit that they take on there. And they, cinch in their waist. They make their ass bigger. They make themselves have a thigh gap and what did I call it? A thigh brow. That was a thing for a while.
I don't know what the hell a thigh brow is.
It was like a fold. So like when you kneel down and you're like you're sitting on your knees, there's like this crease that comes like between your hip and your thigh. It's like listen, I'm just saying that's what was out there. I think like Kim Kardashian like coined the term or something stupid. But
there's a fucking role model for America right there.
Right. But yeah, I mean, can we be real with our kids and stop letting them learn everything from the internet, everything from Instagram, and having them think that everything that they see and hear on the internet is what they need to be and do? Yeah. Because we are creating just this a horrible world for them to grow up in. If we're not going to be real with them, who else is going to be real with them?
Nobody.
Right.
Nobody at all.
They're learning from the worst role models ever. Yes. Nicki Minaj and her song Wet Ass Pussy is not a good role model.
No.
And is the most disgusting song ever. And the fact that it was a #1 song is disgusting.
But we took off an old song called Baby It's Cold Outside because it was offensive.
It was about rape.
It's offensive.
It was not about fucking rape. It was not about rape. Like, that is ridiculous.
That's the logic of the people today.
Makes
no sense.
I don't get it. It's ridiculous.
No sense at all?
Whatever.
Got a hair crawling on my face.
Look like you're crying.
I am. Just so.
Do you have anything else that you want to say about porn?
No.
Are you really hot?
It's like 100 degrees in here.
Know. I'm getting all feisty talking about porn.
It is
I said
toasty.
Penis and vagina and porn more in this conversation than I think I've ever said in my life. Although, no, that's a lie because I've had to say it a lot at work. When people come in, I'm not trying to make fun of anyone reporting anything, but they'll be like, they'll try to be describing things and I'll be like, I need you to tell me what it is.
Let's be frank about it.
And I hate, people are afraid to say it. Everyone has either a penis or a vagina. Yeah, right. Have something.
And nowadays you can pick which one you want.
Right. You get a chance.
You can have both. You can have all of it.
So that's my argument. Teach your freaking kids to say penis and vagina, because even in 20-some-year-olds or 30-year-olds or 40-year-olds or 18-year-olds come in and they want to make a report and no one can say vagina or penis. They cannot say it. They are so embarrassed by it. You can say penis and you can say vagina. We all have one of those. Not both.
Well,
one.
I think one.
One or the other.
other.
One or the
Yeah.
other. We all have. That's the lesson that
Take
we.
your pick.
What's the other lesson we